I didn't feel good in myself. I didn't have the energy that I always had. My mum just accepted that I needed to take radical action. She said, if you want help in terms of like a surgical option, cannot believe I've gotten to this stage. Feel like I'm a success and I've done really well and worked really hard in so many other fields in my life. And this is one thing that I couldn't really seem to get past. For me, it was more put something in your body so you can keep going. Looking back, I don't think I really understood the importance of having systems in place. So this is something that I decided to prioritize, and I'm glad I did it with RNT.
What made you decide to book in a photo shoot?
I meant to book one for so long, and there just never seemed to be a good moment to do it. Actually, when I booked it, I had to move it a week earlier because I had a family wedding that I forgot. I'm not a big social media user. I don't like to post photos of myself, but I felt good about how far I'd come about the family wedding. I said, no, I'm going to do this thing. It was a big thing for me saying no and just saying, no, I'm prioritizing this for myself. So during the shoot, I was looking and I was like, who is that? That doesn't look like me. I've never seen that many abs on my body.
Okay, so Meera, take me back a couple of years now. What were the series of moments that led to your trigger moment to begin your journey with us at RNT?
So I just, after lockdown, that was really, really difficult for me. And I didn't feel good in myself. I didn't have the energy that I always had. And I just figured it's time to make a really big, drastic change because I kind of felt like I'd got myself into a bit of a hole. And, I've always liked training and going to the gym and looking after myself. And I think like a lot of people were in that position where you just think, I can't really do anything. And I was speaking to my family about it, and they actually, my mum in particular was talking to me about going for surgery. She said, if you need the help, just do the surgery, whatever surgeries you need to do, and it just felt like a bit of a cop-out. And also, I work in the medical field. It's about health and being able to maintain things. So I figured, I wanted to try it this way first. And I'm really glad I did so.
Amazing. What did you have like a trigger moment, or was it a build-up?
It was a build-up. I think I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think maybe the defining moment was when I was talking to my parents about how I was feeling and how I looked, and my mum just accepted that I needed to take radical action. So, she said, if you want help finding someone to kind of help you in terms of like a surgical option. And then I thought to myself, I cannot believe I've gotten to this stage. I feel like I'm a success and I've done really well and worked really hard in so many other fields in my life. And this is one thing that I couldn't really seem to get past, and I didn't really know how to do that. So I looked at a few different programs, and actually my brother-in-law, my sister's brother-in-law, actually, he's done the RNT program. So he showed me photos of how he looked, and that was what swayed it for me because, just the fact that he was able to do something like that, that was really, really big. So, yeah.
Why did you feel there was nothing you can do in that moment or in that period of your life?
I think I was stuck in a cycle because I was working, 6 days a week, really long hours. We were going through a lot of changes in the clinic as well. And I wasn't looking after myself at all. When the gyms closed over lockdown, that was really difficult for me. But I always, as I said, I always enjoyed training and working out. So that happened. And then in terms of the long hours and then just overeating in the evening, just eating, rubbish. That was, I feel like that's what got me into that situation. Because I was kind of stable before, pretty happy with how I looked and how I felt. So, yeah.
And how did you feel when you would eat those excess amounts in the evenings and you felt like your habits were sort of falling apart? What was like the narrative in your head during that period?
I think you get into a phase where you don't even think about what you're doing. You just think, I need to eat something because I've not eaten all day. and you just block it out. So you feel like that's not you that's doing that. And it sounds really silly. It's like you just block it all out. And afterwards I'll say to myself, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. But looking back, I don't think I really understood the importance of having systems in place. So, I mean, it's not like I don't go through that routinely now, but through the RNT process, I've seen and I've learned, okay, you need to have these backup systems in place. So when you come home and you're knackered after that day, what are you going to do? And Ivan actually said to me towards the end of, when I was approaching the checkpoint, he said, you're always in control of what you put in your mouth. And, I read that in the lessons, and, I've been told that, and it didn't really hit home until he said that to me the last time. And then I realized, you know what? Yeah, that is true, because, all the family situation that you have, all the social situations that you have, no one is going to be more in control than yourself. So no one's going to force you to do anything. No one forces you to do anything in real life. But if it's something that you really want, you always have control over that. And it extends to all the other different priorities in your life. If you want to prioritize your family, you're going to prioritize your family. If you want to focus on your health and, put the time in and the effort in, then you will do that. And I really believe that no one is, a weak person. It is really just where your priorities lie. And I think in my family, we've always valued education and working hard. It's never really been about health, which is really unusual, actually, considering the background of a lot of medical people. So this is something that I decided to prioritize. And I'm glad I did it with RNT. There's no way I would have been able to do it otherwise.
What's your specialty in the medical field? Which area do you?
I'm a dentist.
Okay.
So I specialize in braces, implants, and facial aesthetics.
Okay,
I'm not a specialist, but yeah.
And your parents are also in the medical field?
Yes, so my mom is a pharmacist and my dad's a dentist. So pretty much everyone in my family is a dentist. So there's a lot of us.
One thing you said that was really interesting is you said when you're in that phase of eating, you almost think it's someone else. Yes. Can you touch on that? Because I think that's very interesting.
Yeah. So I think in one of the lessons and also my emails with Ivan, he spoke about, when you're eating, how do you feel? And he kept asking, how do you feel? How do you feel? And I actually didn't feel anything. I just thought that I needed to put the calories in my body because I could feel that, shaking, and I just needed some kind of glucose somewhere just so I could get on with my evening, because unfortunately, sometimes, yourself, you have a young kid, so you don't finish at the end of the day. There's always stuff to do. So for me, there's always admin to do for the practice. There's a huge staff turnover at that time. So I was having to do a lot of different jobs as well. So for me, it was more, you need to put something in your body so you can keep going until bedtime. And then you can wake up and do it all over again, basically. And then whatever I would be eating, I wouldn't really enjoy the food. And then, so afterwards, it's like a dissociation. And I have this tendency that I do that with a lot of things. So if there's, a difficult case that I'm doing or just some challenge, I'll do it, give it my all, but I will completely dissociate from it. And this is very similar mindset of how I was approaching food. So I wasn't enjoying what I was eating.
And where do you think that's come from?
I think it's, that's an interesting question. I think it's probably my upbringing, to be honest. My mom is a great cook. She actually cooks quite healthily, but she had, in my opinion, she has preset notions of what someone should be eating. The volume of food that I was eating was a lot, and I had a massive sweet tooth. So, you know, when you go home as a kid, you just eat what your parents give you, and I just took that forwards. Wasn't thinking about nutrition and what's good for me. It was just more just put something in there and carry on. So, you know, I think if you do have that little bit of structure, for me, even just as Ivan was talking about having, you know, backup meals in place, I don't use them most of the time, but when I need them, that's what I go to. And I don't always recognize when I'm hungry and when I'm not hungry. So it gets to that stage where I'll feel very shaky, and then I notice that I'm getting frantic. And then I think now I think to myself, why do I feel like this? And it's just because I've forgotten to eat, and I've forgotten that's what I need. So, yeah.
Is that forgetting to eat like a long-term habit that you've had?
Yeah. So I think during training, you know, when you're going on courses and things, you spend a long time just in surgery, or, you know, learning a specific skill. So you don't have regular breaks that you can take. Oh, you know, have some water, have some food, and you're kind of seen as the weak one if you do take a step back in those situations. So in particular, certain aspects of you know, the work that I do, it's very male focused. So for me, I mean, it's probably in my head, but I feel like I have something to prove as well. You know, it's a quite male dominant profession. So I don't want to miss out on anything and not make the most of the opportunities that I've been given. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And is that something that you've improved over the years, or improved your relationship with that sort of feeling that you need to prove yourself?
I think RNT like sums it up quite well. It's always you versus you. And for me, I'm very competitive. You know, I like to be the best at whatever I do. And it's difficult when you reach the end, when you reach a goal, and then afterwards you think, okay, what am I going to do next? So I don't think I'm ever going to lose that, to be honest. I think because that's just inherently who I am. You know, I really feel that I'm lucky to be able to do what I can do, to be in the profession that I am, and you know, to prioritize the things that I'm able to prioritize, because I recognize a lot of people don't have the time that I have. But I think through RNT, you know, I was working 6 days a week, admin and stuff on top of that. I actually work 3 days a week now. So I've really cut down my hours, to prioritize what I want to, which is my health. And, you know, I work long hours still, and I do the admin and stuff in between, but I feel like my balance is a lot better. So I feel better on a day-to-day basis going forwards, and I have more time for hobbies now, which I never did before. So. And
what triggered you to cut your workouts from 6 to 3 days? You went from like saying how competitive you are to like, oh, I'm cutting it in half.
Yes, yeah. So I had some health issues actually. So I've had a few joint issues. So I had issues with my wrists and then my shoulder. It's still not fully ironed out.
From dentistry?
I think from dentistry, yeah. So I normally would just, it's fine. We'll just carry on. We'll wear a support, see my physio every week, see an osteopath every week. And then I realized that, okay, it is actually the dentistry. So it's, so certain aspects, certain treatments I do, I needed to just stop that. So even just cutting my hours by like half, that's really, really helped. So I still have injuries and things, but it's nowhere close to how I was feeling before.
I've heard of that from other dentists who are repetitive strain because of specific surgeries, their neck, upper back, wrists. It's very common.
It is, yeah.
What was your dieting history like before RNT? Had you been someone who tried a lot of diets, tried a lot of training things?
Not really, to be honest. My weight was constant at around 64 kilos pre-lockdown. I went to the gym maybe 4 times a week. I was very happy going, do some body pump classes, do some weights, no structured program, lots of swimming as well. So I swam a lot as a kid. So I carried that through. So it's just generally kept very active, loads of short breaks and things as well, like, hiking and stuff like that. But I never really focused on nutrition. I just eat what I really wanted to. And then during work was this kind of black hole of food. It was very on both scales, both ends of the scale.
Okay. So describe the moment when your mum said to you, do you want to consider surgery? What went through your mind at that point?
I think I accepted it. And it was a difficult point for me to get to because I'd been fighting it. It felt like I'd been fighting it for so long. And then when she agreed with me, my mum and I don't agree on a lot. I mean, she's an Asian mum. We don't agree on very many things. But when she agreed with me and she said, if you think this is going to help you, then okay, we can look into things. And then I thought to myself, oh my God, you are agreeing with me on this thing of all things. And I also, when I accepted it, and I think it clarified in my head that I needed to take radical action. But I wasn't going to give in. I still wasn't going to give in. I got myself into that situation. So then I looked into a lot of programs, and that's when I started, really looking into a structured program to lose the weight that I put on during lockdown, because it was just ridiculous. I didn't like how I felt, how even just walking to the station, which is, 10-minute walk, I'd get tired. I was slow, so I was missing my train sometimes. I'm always running a little bit late for things. So those 2 minutes meant that I missed that train, and I was just like, walking up the hill is just hard. Everything is just hard. And I actually feel better now than I'd ever felt before. Even, when I felt like I was at a good weight, so the 64 kilos weight. I actually feel better now, then I've got more energy. My mind is clearer. I can do anything that I want to do. And it's really empowering to actually feel like that.
Amazing. So fast forward to October 2021, you joined RNT. Describe the process of the cleaning the palate phase, early elements of the process where you ultimately had to make multiple different lifestyle changes to your nutrition, movement, etc. What was that process like for you of making all these changes to your life?
Yeah. So I was really excited. And the first time I actually prepped something, I didn't read the grams properly, and I times it by 10. So I remember putting all this stuff in the blender, and just being like, this looks like a ridiculous amount of food. But then in all the things it was saying, it's normal to feel like it's a lot of food. So I was like, okay, it's normal to feel like this is a lot of food. So it's this massive blender full of like random stuff. And my husband was helping me. He was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, they said it's going to be a lot of food. And then we just had a really good laugh about it. I was like, I'm sure this is what they said. This is what I need to do. I was like, no, this I need to eat this every day. I'm going to eat this every day. And it was just, it was insane. It was like a bucket of food.
How much was it? So what were you doing?
It was like, I think it was like a smoothie thing, like so banana and peanut butter and some protein powder or something very basic. But I just didn't read it, and I just chucked all that stuff in there.
So how much were you putting in, out of interest?
Yeah, it was like it was like 300 or So I just kept going with this.
300 grams of protein.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then adding the water, trying to like, make it all runny. It's like, this just looks like a lot. So yeah, but I mean,
You must have been stuffed after that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a bit of it, and I was like, I can't, I physically
Yeah.
cannot eat all this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
I'm
took me
glad.
a while to realize. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was a really nice process actually. I discovered that I hate quinoa after that first week of quinoa every day. I can't even look at it now. I never had it before, but yeah, I was just like, nah, I can't have that. But I felt really good, eating what was on my CTP plan. I felt like my body was finally getting what it needed. And it was good not to have to think, at the end of the day, you just come home and there's a thing there. Okay, I'll just have this. So I did my prep every morning to wake up early. So I'm an early riser anyway. So, I'm up at like 6, 5:30, something like that. So I do all my prep in the morning and just take all this stuff with me during the day. So yeah, it was good. It felt like, okay, my body needs this. And I felt good. And then I saw that scale kind of going down slowly. And I was like, something's happening. That can only be a good thing. So yeah.
What was it the structure that really helped you at this stage, given before there was no set meal plan? Were you eating regularly through the
day? Yes, that's what I really struggled with. So, I talked about with Ivan and Ed, trying to get set meal times. So I start work at 8. So I was trying to eat in the morning, and I found initially that I couldn't stomach eating anything in the morning. But then the next break I'd get would probably be around 3, 4 o'clock. So what I ended up doing was blocking out time from my diary, 5-10 minutes, just so I could eat something earlier on. So, but yeah, I did really struggle with that. It wasn't eating the food, but I'd find sometimes I've got 2 meals at the end of the day that I've not eaten. And so I had to fit those in somewhere. So I still struggle with that now. But, I take all the food with me and then it's there. So if I do get 5 minutes, okay, that's what I'm going to do is eat.
Yeah, fair. What were some of your biggest challenges and obstacles in your journey, especially en route to checkpoint and in the process phase?
So during checkpoint, that was a really busy time because I was finishing my dissertation, I was moving house, we're renovating all the stuff in the practice, so I had to, oversee that as well. There's just a lot going on. So I think it was more time management because, there's only so many hours in the day, and I left my dissertation till the last minute. So I had to do everything in the space of a week. So I'd wake up early, go to the gym, do my prep. My husband offered to help, but I felt like I needed to do that. That's my journey that I was doing. It doesn't take that long. And it was really good because I remember starting work at like 6 o'clock. So I'd work solid until around 10, go to the gym, smash it out of the gym, come back and just sit again. I've got a smartwatch, so it tell me, okay, have you done your 10,000 steps? No? Go for a walk in the afternoon. If you have, great, then you can just carry on working. So it was just planning really well. And I think that translates to kind of all aspects of health and nutrition. As long as you have that plan, the RNT has provided a really good, solid plan for me to follow. So as long as you have that plan, then you can fit all the other stuff in around that, because it just takes away all the thinking. As long as you're putting good things in your body, we're all machines at the end of the day. So you're putting the best thing that you can for yourself in your body. 100% you're going to have the best output, because whether or not you realize it, you will be working at your best level. And I really did find that during that checkpoint phase. It was just so, so busy. And I told all my friends and family, I was like, don't talk to me. They're like, oh, is it because of the checkpoint? Like, yes, but also I have 100 million other things to do. That is going to take all of my time and priority. And yeah, it worked out really, really well. So
Was time a constant challenge for you through the journey in the last 2 years?
What do you mean?
Was time like always the biggest challenge for you in the last 2 years when it came to like fitting in your different elements?
I think it comes down to priorities. As I said, I always feel like I'm a busy person, but I feel like everyone feels like they're busy. And we all fit different things in our lives. We have different priorities and things that we need to do on a daily basis. Sometimes you need to do something by the end of the day. And Ivan said to me, okay, we get it, you're busy. And I understand that everyone is busy, but this is something that I wanted to prioritize. So it doesn't feel like you're busy. It doesn't feel like it's taking your time because it's something that you want. So anyone who is signing up to any program or thinking, okay, I'm going to go on a diet, why are you doing that? You're doing that because you want this for yourself, not because anyone has said to you, oh, you could stand to lose a bit of weight. It's because you want to feel better in yourself and you want to be around for your kids or around for your family or be able to look after other members of your family. So if you've come to that decision, then you have automatically decided that is a priority for you. And it's not the time that it's taking, it's just that has moved up to number one at that stage. So there's no such thing as, I don't have time to do something, because whatever you want in your life, I really believe that if you really want it enough, you can do it. And it's not, oh, I don't have enough time to do it. It's just, no, that is not my priority at that stage. And that's okay. Because, there's loads of things that you're going to need to juggle and fit in there.
How's your relationship with food been in the last couple of years, where you said previously you almost went into a black hole when it came to your nutrition? Yeah. How have you improved that or changed that over the last couple of years?
I think I'm a lot more forgiving with myself. So, through the RNT curriculum thing, it says there's no such thing as bad food. And you keep reading that enough and you think, okay, there's no such thing as bad food. So, I have a massive sweet tooth, as I said. I like sweets. I just like eating them. But I feel like I used to feel a bit guilty when I had some before. And now I think to myself, okay, I feel like a small something sweet, and then I will have the small thing and I feel fine about it. It is about portion control, because I obviously don't want to go back to that situation that I was in before. But I'm a lot more mindful with what I eat. So I look at nutrition as fueling my body so I can do what I need to do. And then sometimes, I've worked really hard and I feel like this certain specific taste. So I will look for that one thing. So if it's a sweet, I'll have a sweet. If it's, something else, a very small taste of something, and I'm good with that. So
you've just become a bit more intentional with how you approach your food.
Yeah.
What made you decide to book in a photo shoot?
Yeah, I meant to book one for so long, and there just never seemed to be a good moment to do it. There's always this thing that's come up, that thing that's come up. And actually, when I booked it, I had to move it a week earlier because I had a family wedding that I forgot that I was supposed to go to, which was overseas. And there's no way can I stick to my checkpoint diet during this week at an all-inclusive resort. There's just no way that's going to happen. So I spoke to Ivan. I was like, what do I do? Should I delay it by another month, or should I bring it forwards? And he said, no, bring it forwards. I think it came down to the accountability. I'm not a big social media user. I don't like to post photos of myself and stuff like that. But that was something that I felt like I needed to do. And also I wanted to, I felt good about how far I'd come. And I don't think we celebrate ourselves enough. You put yourself through your paces every single day. And then if you look back on where you were 2 years ago, not just, with health or whatever, but just professionally and with your family and everything, we're all working so hard, and we've got to take time sometimes just to stop and think, you know what, I did that. And that's one of the reasons why I booked is, I felt like I wanted to mark it. And then also I'd just been messing around at the same weight for a while. I was like, this is enough. So, yeah.
That's good. That's something good to touch on. Why did it take you so long to pull the pin just before that grind phase? And why were you sort of, like you said, messing around at a certain weight that you needed to go to the next level, but you were just sort of spinning your wheels a bit? What was going on through your head there, and why? What couldn't you teach others?
I think at that stage, I realized that all this stuff was going to have to happen together. And if I was going to make it difficult by doing all these things together, then I may as well add on the foot tissue as well. It just, because I was reaching the end of year 2, and then I still hadn't reached my checkpoint. And I just thought, this is so stupid because I've done so well. I like how I look, but this is just stupid. Like, why can I not do this last little bit? And I thought, it's not that I can't do it. It's just that I'm stubborn. I'm being stubborn to myself. I'm just delaying the inevitable. It's going to happen one day. Why can it not happen today? Why have I been wasting time for so long, not reaching the checkpoint, not doing what I'm supposed to be doing? So I just booked it quickly before my brain realized what was happening. And and then once it was in, again, it's not very easy to change it. So I thought, this is good. I don't want to change it. And I actually had a big argument with my husband about the family wedding. I said, no, I am going to do this thing. I don't really care. You can go on the trip by yourself. It's not my problem because I have committed to this thing and I'm going to do it. And he said, oh, maybe you can call and ask them to change it. I said, no, I don't want to. And that I'm quite a soft person generally. If someone says, okay, can you please do this? I will try and accommodate them. And this is the first time where I just said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing what you told me to do. And then in the end, obviously I did give in. It was like, but I brought it forward a week.
Yeah.
And, it was a big thing for me saying no and saying, no, I'm prioritizing this for myself and everyone else can suck it basically.
So what do you think the sort of, I don't know, is fear the right word? Or what was the hesitation behind sort of really just saying, right, I'm going to go for it now? Because you said this is stupid. I shouldn't be, I need to do it. But what was holding you? What was stopping you? Because I see that with a lot of people where they hover in that phase and it's like, you're literally 4-6 weeks away from just something completely life-changing. If you just pull the pin for 4 to 6 weeks, you won't believe what you can achieve. Yeah. And it's the hardest bit. And you made it happen in the end. But what was in your mind that you think, just put it off?
Just because it's another change. I think it's another change. You're kind of in this happy zone where you're sitting there and you're like, you know what, everything's going all right. It's not bad. I mean, you haven't put yourself in a worse position. And then, I maintained at the same weight and I was okay with how I looked and how I felt. I was like, everything's going pretty well. And you just don't want to come out of that comfort zone. So you're just happy sitting there, not rocking the boat. And I think it's not really fear. It's just contentment with where you are. But my dad has this really good story. I think it's a really good story where he says, you've been going to the same shop every day and eating the same bread every day. And you love this bread. You think it's the greatest bread ever. And then one day, your mum went to this other shop. She went to this bakery and she brought back another bread. And this bread was amazing. And I think to myself, I've just been wasting my time on this old bread, which I was happy with. But now I've tasted the new bread. I don't want to go back to the old bread. And I think it's the same thing. You just don't know. It's not fear. It's just you're okay with where you are. And you think, okay, I'm okay with where I am. I don't need to go any further. And you feel like you know yourself very well. You think, that's okay. So it's I think what I found, not just with the checkpoint, but with other things as well, you have to do something completely irrational. So it's like, when I go to the gym in the morning, started going back, early morning, I go before my brain wakes up and realizes what's happening. So by the time I'm started to wake up, I'm already on the tube. And it's a similar situation with the checkpoint as well. When I just clicked it and booked it, and then didn't even give myself a chance to think about, okay, is this the right date? Is this right? Is that right? No, just book it, put it in there. And then when it comes to it, you have to do it. You don't have a choice.
I think your dad's got a brilliant analogy there. It's like you're eating a Hovis white bread and you think it's great, and then you discover sourdough freshly baked out of the oven. You're like, oh, this is what's possible.
Yes, exactly. 100%.
Amazing. And how did it feel then? Then when you did pull the pin, you said you booked it without your brain even thinking you booked it, and then you went through the grind. Describe the experience of what you learned about yourself during that push to the photo shoot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the grind. I thought it was great. I felt so sharp on all fronts. I could feel my body changing every single day. I really enjoyed the whole process, even through the studying and everything. I really, really enjoyed it. And I wanted to carry it on for a bit longer. And so I did a little bit. I had to take this week out. But then I just liked how I felt and how I was living my day-to-day life. It didn't feel like work. And I just kept thinking to myself, okay, you can control exactly what you're putting in your body. And I just go smash it out the gym, feel really good about myself. And I loved it. I loved every single moment of it.
Amazing. And what was the moment when you saw your pictures on the camera during a shoot?
So during the shoot, I was looking and I was like, no, that doesn't, who is that? That doesn't look like me. I know a lot of it is lighting and tan and this and that. But I looked at those photos and I was like, I cannot believe that. I've never seen that many abs on my body ever. It's so nice to see that. And then I asked Shan to take a photo of my arms and my back. So I mentioned that I used to swim as a kid. And I like how strong I am. And then he's like, oh, you're going to like this, then let's do this. And great. I was looking whoa, that's insane. But it's interesting because I look back at those photos and I'm like, oh, I could improve here, I could improve there. And it's something that I would have even thought about before. It's just, I would just think about, okay, can I wear this? Does that look all right? Yeah, it looks fine. But now I just look at myself in a different way. Just, you could strengthen this. And I've noticed that, I don't get that much backache and stuff like that. My sister has backache. Obviously, she's a dentist, but she just doesn't have, backache. I don't have those kinds of issues that she does. And I think that's down to a solid training program as well.
So, Meera, how's the physical been the vehicle for you?
I think it's just made my mind really clear. I literally feel invincible, and I know none of us are, but I can just do anything that I want to do. If I have an idea in my head, 100%, I can just go for it and just do whatever I want to do. I mean, I'm so lucky that I was able to do this with you guys. And I just really hope that anyone who's thinking, okay, maybe I'm not sure, that they just do it, just go for it. You have to do it because your brain will realize what's happening, and then you'll always find a reason to say no. So just sign up to the thing and it's just perfect. You just get dragged through the process, whether you like it or not. Fantastic.
Brilliant. What almost kept you from joining 2 and a bit years ago?
It was actually my husband. He said, you don't need this. You're beautiful just the way you are. You don't need to do this. Why didn't you just sign up to a program? I'll help you. And he's a triathlon person. He running, cycling, swimming. He's been doing sports from when he was very young, and he eats rubbish all the time, 24/7, just sweets and chocolates and everything. So when he said to me, "Oh no, I'll help you with it. You don't need it," but I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, "I don't. This is not what I want for myself." So it's never about the finances for me, because, you know, people spend money on phones and clothes and shoes and whatever. And realistically, it's a year program and it's a commitment. So it was never that, but it was that, you know, my husband saying to me, no, you know, you don't need it. But again, I just did what I wanted to do and just signed up anyway.
What did he say?
He said, I still don't think you need it, but okay, you can sign up to your little program and see what happens. And I was like, yes, that's exactly, you just go away. Just let me do my thing. Let me sort this out for myself. So.
And what did he think after the photo shoot?
I showed him the before photos, and he looked at me and he said, that's not you. You've photoshopped them. And I said, first of all, I don't even know how to use Photoshop. And second of all, these are from 2 years ago. This is how I looked. And you said to me that I was okay with how I looked. And he said, no, because you never looked like that. And when he looks at those photos, he gets so upset because he just cannot believe that I used to look like that. And I can, because obviously I remember how I felt. You know, you remember the feeling of, it sounds so silly, but how your arms feel when they're by your sides, how your clothes feel when they're tighter, the same clothes you've been wearing for years and they just feel tighter. So yeah, I mean, he does not like looking at the before photos because he just cannot believe that that's real. And yeah, but when I signed up to the second year, he was fully on board with it. He said, you know, if you need to do another year, fine, you do another year. I said, I do. And I've already signed up for it. So, yeah.
What would you say to anyone who's on year one right now?
Yeah. I think just keep your mind open. You've signed up to this program so that RNT can think for you. Your way of thinking is wrong. And that's why you've got yourself into that situation. You've got yourself into bad habits, good habits, whatever, but you are stuck in a rut and you signed up for a reason. So these guys have the expertise to fix it for you. So whatever they tell you, just keep your mind open, and eventually you'll believe everything that is part of the program. It might not make sense from day one, and that's okay. But eventually it will stick in there, and whether you like it or not, you're not going to go back to that original place that you were when you signed up.
Incredible. Couldn't have said it better than that. What are your next goals, Meera, with your health and fitness?
So this year I want to do another qualification. So this is the first time in many years where I've not been studying. And I feel like I don't want to just stay where I am. I think we can always learn and grow. So there's a qualification that I want to sign up for. And there's a speaking program that I'm signing up for as well. So yeah, everything else is going pretty well. I want to focus more on like my hobbies and things like that. And also maybe start a family this year. So, you know, see how that goes.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Amazing. Any final words for the listeners?
I think just trust the process. You know, I really think that fear holds us back in all aspects of our life. But this is something where you guys have the expertise to take the fear out of it. So it's not just, I've signed up to this thing. It is really a whole lifestyle solution. And it is not a mistake. It's never going to be a mistake to invest in your health. You know, there's so many aesthetic concerns that people have with being overweight. But I don't think enough is made of how you feel afterwards. And it's never, ever going to be a mistake to invest in your health. So 100% just sign up, do it. Just do it before you realize what you're doing. And that's the best thing that I can tell you.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for sharing your story, Meera.
No worries.